For as long as I can remember, there's been one track that's been at the top of my racing bucket list, and that track is the one and only Knoxville Raceway. From the rich history of this iconic track to the fact that it's located just a few hours from where I grew up, Knoxville has been on my wish list since I was old enough for a pit pass at the local quarter mile. And at 32 years old, I'm really proud to say that I finally got to check this one off my list. But getting here wasn't really easy. Now, for some people, it's Eldora. For others, it's Daytona, either the road course or the circle track, or even Williams Grove or Fairbury or Volusia, or, insert any iconic track. But for me, it was always Knoxville. It's always been Knoxville, and if we're calling a spade, it probably always will be Knoxville. After all, we all have one track that's a little bit larger than life, and that's Knoxville for me. You see, I grew up at the local dirt track, Plymouth dirt track, actually, in a small town, Wisconsin. And Knoxville was always somewhat of a pipe dream for me when I grew up. As far back as I can remember, my Saturday nights were spent at the local dirt track. When I was really young, my dad raced a hobby stock, and back then, a hobby stock was little more than just a stripped and caged G-body car, but some of my fondest memories were at the track on Saturday, or even packing the trailer before we went to the racetrack, and then on Sunday mornings, we would wash the car off in the front yard. I'll never forget the way that damp summer air felt on your face as you watch cars go around in circles, and it's just something that really was iconic when I grew up. Now, when I was finally old enough for a pit waiver, I volunteered my Saturday nights at that very same racetrack. Back then, before the days of digital communications, they would write scoring sheets down and then hand them to me, and I would run them from the scoring tower to the pit shack. It really was, a great way to kind of get involved and something that meant a lot to me. You see, racing and dirt racing really has always been a core part of who I am, which is why I've always wanted to go to Knoxville so badly. And rightfully so. We have to give credit where credit is due here. Knoxville is not just a dirt oval. It is one of the most iconic tracks in all of dirt racing. Fun fact for you, did you know that Knoxville Raceway was originally built for horse racing? It's because the track was actually established way back in 1878. Now, this is the same year that the phonograph was invented. Not the photograph, the phonograph. The local residents would race horses here until 1901, when the first automobile race would take place, and from there, a weekly racing program would be established in 1954. When we say Knoxville has a rich history, we mean it. Now, what makes Knoxville so damn special is that it's more than just a racetrack in a small-town Iowa community. The entire community is rooted in dirt racing. Known as the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville has been putting on the biggest, baddest, and best sprint car show of the year since long before I was a twinkle in my mother's eye. It's been raced on and won by all of the greats. Steve Kinzer, and Daniel Sosky, and Sammy Swindell, all those guys have won there. But let's not get this confused here. This isn't some random dirt oval in a cornfield off the beaten path in the sticks. The entire city of Knoxville is quite literally built around dirt racing. The Sprint Car Hall of Fame lives here. There's speed shops owned by every major name in dirt racing on what seems like every street corner of Knoxville, and even the official city government Facebook page has a checkered flag in their profile picture. For Knoxville, racing is more than just a passion or a hobby. It really is a way of life. And if dirt late models are your thing, then you're in luck, because that's why we're here to begin with. We're going to the 2025 Lucas Oil Late Model Nationals, and you're coming with me. Now, Now, by the time I flew into Des Moines on Thursday, I was already buzzing about this weekend. I'd spent pretty much every waking hour of free time the week before watching YouTube videos on the Lucas Oil late models, taking it all in and trying to prepare myself for what I can only imagine was going to be a core memory trip that I would tell my grandchildren about someday. Spoiler alert. It was. Now, I watched the replay of last year's Nationals event where Bobby Pierce swept the entire field and he led 67 of the total 75 laps on track. I watched Ricky Thornton Jr. put on an absolutely stellar show at the World 100 live on Flow Racing just the week before. And then the more I got into this thing, the more I got excited. After a quick flight from Appleton to Des Moines, I met up with Dan, the co-owner of American Racing Pro Series wheels and my tour guide for the weekend. Now, Dan has been in the dirt racing game for longer than I've been alive, and when it comes to being connected, he might just take the cake. I mean, Dan knows everyone and everything that there is to do in the world of dirt racing, and I couldn't have picked a better guy to show me around the trip than him. Dan and I would spend nearly the entire weekend together, sharing stories over coffee in the morning, grabbing a quick sandwich from the concession stand at the racetrack, and even having a micro school session where Dan taught me everything that there is to know about dirt racing wheels and just what makes American Racing Pro Series wheels the best in the business. After we left the airport, we made a quick stop at the hotel, dumped off our luggage, and immediately headed into town, and that's when I saw it for the first time. The Knoxville Raceway archway. Now, I know I may have looked like I had it all under control on the outside, but let me be honest with you here, I am geeking out at this moment in time. After all these years and all of these big dreams, we have finally made it to Knoxville. But even though I thought I knew what to expect out of this weekend, I had no idea how crazy this experience was actually going to be. The very first thing I noticed when I stepped out from behind the fence and onto the crossover on the racetrack was just how dark the dirt is here at Knoxville compared to almost all of the other racetracks I've been to before. And that's because Knoxville Raceway uses what they call river bottom gumbo. It's a true story. Look it up. The dirt here is dirt from local floodplains from the rivers that surround Knoxville, Iowa. It's really dark, it's tacky, and it holds a ton of moisture, and it also has a ton of grip for late models and sprint cars alike, which is largely responsible for what makes Knoxville Raceway so dang fast. For reference, if you've never watched a race, the average qualifying times here are sub 15 to 16 seconds, and most of that is absolutely wide open. There's a lot of grip and a lot of speed. Now, over the next 3 days, I would get to experience a world unlike anything I had ever experienced before. You see, not only was I fortunate enough to get invited to the event, but I was also approved for media credentials, which meant that my very first Knoxville Raceway was going to be up close and personal with all the best drivers, the best teams, the best tracks, and of course, all the race cars. Now, along the way, I got to meet some really incredible people, including Ricky Thornton Jr., Bobby Pierce, Brandon Shepard, Brandon Overton, and more. I even got lucky enough to chat with Hudson O'Neal directly after his wicked crash on Friday night, where he sent the car up into the second story of the catch fence, and then shake his hand in victory lane on Sunday after he won the whole event. It was pretty cool. But there was so much more to this event than just shaking hands and picking dirt out of the soles of my shoes. Now, being this close to over 19,000 combined horsepower is a feeling that I can't even begin to describe. Even now, a month and a half after the event, I find it really hard to put it into words what it's like standing on the fence in turn 3 as cars work the bottom and the top of the racetrack at the same time. The smells, the sounds, the way the cool early autumn air hits your face as a pack of cars blast past you. It's this crazy feeling that I've only ever dreamed about, but we were here. I was there, and it was such a neat experience for me. While the experience of being at Knoxville was a treat, I was there to do a job, and do a job I did. Over the course of the weekend, I captured over 300 total gigabytes of video footage, which many you've probably seen so far in the video. I also happened to shoot over 1,000 total photos, which turned into about 150 keepers, including some of the most awesome photos I've ever taken in my life, which you can actually see here. Now, midway through the night on Saturday, I happened to stop and grab a pork rib sandwich, which was incredible, by the way, from the concession stand in the Infield, and I sat on the bleachers and watched while the heat races ripped around the track all around me. And somewhere along the way, as I'm sitting there smacking the sandwich, it really hit me. We had finally done it. After all these years and all of this hard work, we finally made it to the iconic Knoxville Raceway. Now, in a lot of ways, it felt like I finally paid off a debt, but instead of owing money to a bank, I made a payment to a bright-eyed, brown-haired kid that dreamed of something so much bigger than his local dirt track and the 50 square miles that surrounded his home. You know, I always said that I wanted to build a life that would make a younger me proud, and I'm really happy to say that I checked that one off the bucket list after all these years. You know, it was a really cool experience, and I get a little emotional thinking about it. Excuse me. But maybe more than that, though, being at Knoxville made me realize that racing is more than just horsepower and lap times or sliders and late nights. You know, it's a way of life unlike anything else. And whether it's a big race for $75,000 at a track like Knoxville or your local quarter-mile dirt oval, you know, this sport connects us all. To some, Knoxville is just another dirt track, a half-mile oval with earth as black as the night sky and bright white retaining walls that make pictures really interesting. But to me, it will always be so much more. And this trip will forever be a core memory for me. It's proof that if you chase your dreams, that you will catch them. And when you do, it's going to feel even better than I think any of us ever imagined. I do have to say, Dan, the rest of the crew at American Racing Pro Series Wheels, thank you guys immensely for allowing me to be a part of this amazing opportunity. You know, from the time I landed in Des Moines to the time I got dropped off at my departure gate, Dan and his team took incredible care of me. He introduced me to some of the most amazing people in the world and some really iconic names in the sport. And he taught me so much about the world of dirt racing wheels and late models and all of this stuff that I will be forever grateful. My one piece of advice here is that if you've got a, bucket list track that you've always wanted to go to, then do it. Grab your tickets, grab your friends, and go visit. I think you'll find that it is so much more than even you ever imagine, and I'm sure your imagination is pretty wild. Now, while this journey is over, the story is far from being told. I've got so much more to share, and I hope that you guys stick around for this wild ride. Let's keep doing rad stuff together, okay? Until next time, keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. We'll see you soon.